Greetings, clock collectors and fine arts enthusiasts. Hey, I brought home another clock today. This one here was gifted to me today. I'm very appreciative of it. And it's a clock from the 80s. And let's take a look here. The movement is made in China. Some of the parts are made in Korea, and it has this brand on it. It says D&A. Now, I did a little research on this clock and come to find out there's actually no company, clock company called D&A that I know of. As you can see, some of the parts are made in Korea here. And I don't know if you can read that or not, but it's from China. And as I found out, this clock was primarily sold by J.C. Penney back in the 80s. It's a nice quality clock. The lady couldn't get it to run, and I found the pendulum and the key laying in here. And it wasn't hooked up to the suspension, what I call the suspension spring. It wasn't hooked up to the suspension spring. And the only thing I can find out wrong with this clock is it just needs to be oiled. And that's what we're going to do next. And I'm going to add it to my collection of schoolhouse clocks. This is a real nice addition to what I already have. It's not an antique, but it is a high quality cabinet or case on this here. I'll show you the clocks I do have. I don't have them running right now, but these are some of my schoolhouse clocks I got. And these are, the one is the Seth Thomas schoolhouse clock. And these two down here, the smaller one and the one with the black frame, those are Seikosha clocks. Could be early 1900s, late 1800s. If you take a look at the pendulums on these clocks, you see that? And this one is a little bit different, but this one here is pretty prevalent. The pendulum that came on the J.C. Penney clock is, as you can see, is very similar. And as you can see, Seikosha puts a brand on there. And I think the clock, the J.C. Penney clock that I acquired today is almost I think they were trying to duplicate Asian clock, is what I think. I'm not sure, but well, the Seth Thomas clock has a case like this. So, but anyway, I'm gonna, when I get that clock going, I'm gonna take that little Gilbert clock and move these around and add it to my collection here. All right, I got the movement out of the clock. There's a lot of German influence in this movement. The way the suspension spring and everything is, and the way that the pendulum hooks up on there. And I had to laugh. There is 12 screws holding this movement into the clock case. There's the pile of screws right there. But I really don't see anything wrong with the. I'm glad the spring wasn't broke, because these are kind of like a barrel springs there. I'm glad those weren't broke. But I'm going to go ahead and oil up the joints on this thing and I'll throw it back in, hang it on the wall. Also, I have to fix this hinge here. I don't think that'll be a big deal. I've got some clock wire here somewhere. It's in the glass, and I'll cut a piece and find one to fit in here and fix that hinge. All right. I just wanted to show you this clock oil I use. I got this off eBay, and it's called Liquid Bearings. Had some pretty good luck with this. One thing you want to do when you got an old clock or any clock and you lubricate it and clean it and whatnot, one thing you do want to do is, or one thing you don't want to do ever, is spray WD-40 on your clock. Yeah, it's a good lubricant for certain things, but after a while it gums up in the side of the clock and it collects dirt. You want to get the right stuff for what you need, and don't spread it all around on your movement. Put it in the joints there and put it where there's some friction. As you can see, I got it hanging on the wall. I've got the face off, the dial off and everything. It's not running, but this is what you want to do before you put it all back together, hang it on the wall and find out it doesn't run. This thing has been sitting for a while. I don't have the pendulum on it, but it should run. Let's see if we can get it to run. Let's help it out a little bit. Get it started. A couple of turns it might take off. Let's see. Yeah, if it's going to run, it should run without the pendulum. Get that oil in there. Another thing, let's get the key and move the spring a little bit. Well, kind of worked it a little bit, turned the key a little bit, just a little bit, and it started going. I think it'll be okay. It's a beautiful case. I'm putting the dial back on now. Sometimes it's a good idea. I have these keys here to put a key on each winding arbor like that. That way it centers the dial, and you know at least you know you can get that in there like that. Alrighty. Okay, I got the old clock running. I put it here with my other schoolhouse clocks. I got the two Seikoshas and the Seth Thomas, and got this one here that came from JCPenney's. And you know what? It's a pretty nice clock. Let's see, fix the hinge on it. Let's open her up and see what happens. See what time is it, 2 o'clock? Appears to be 2 o'clock. Whoa, watch out. You know, this clock does have a lot of quality on it. Let's spin this thing and see what happens. Yeah, it's about right there. Yeah, I did a few things to her. I had to fashion a spring on the counter. It wasn't chiming, so I got that going. You know what? All in all, there's some nice quality in this clock. This brass and everything. I don't know. It looks pretty good. I appreciate it.